We've been strong for so long. Now it's time to rise. No more dimming our light. Let it shine so bright. Breaking chains, breaking downs. We reclaim our crown. Standing tall. Hear us roar. We ain't backing down. We are queens. We are fire. We are born to be bold. Writing history, rewriting what the world has been told. No more limits, no more waiting. Feel the power inside. It's a moment, a season. Watch us over.
All right. The music was getting a little good to me. I didn't want to stop listening to it. Let it ride, right?
Yes, right.
Hi, Facebook family. Hi, YouTube family. Welcome back to the S.I.T podcast, and I am your girl, Sabrina.
Yes, yes.
My girl Michelle is out again.
Yes, she's
I'm gonna
out,
have
yeah.
to have a talk with her. Michelle, I just need you to listen to me. I miss you. Please come home. But we are holding it down, and so we have Mr. Terry Benjamin taking your spot. And Michelle, I have to admit, he's doing an amazing job. I don't know.
Glad to be here.
Michelle,
That's it. I'm happy here. This is my happy place.
Yes. And of course, back with us is the one and only licensed, clinical
Yes,
licensed
yes.
psychotherapist.
Yes.
And I have to throw in this little caveat, my cousin,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Natasha McCartney. Hey, Tosh.
Hey.
Hi,
you
Terry
doing?
and Sabrina,
Hi.
and shout out to the Golden Link. We do miss you.
Yes,
and happy
we
to
do.
be back this Monday for all our YouTube and Facebook listeners.
Yes. So happy to be back. Shell, I'm going to say it one more time. We miss you. We can't wait for you to come back.
That's right.
We wish you and your family well.
Mm-hmm.
So today we are going to jump right back into what we were discussing last week, Terry. I
Okay,
thought it was a
yeah.
good
It was good.
conversation.
Very good
You
conversation.
really
Yeah.
made me see some things in a different light. We'll talk about that later.
That's beautiful.
Dating, y'all, is a whole new
Oh,
ball
my
game out
goodness.
there.
It's a whole nother program.
It's a whole nother program. But what we want to really focus on, right, even before we get to that process, is healthy boundaries versus rules, right? We need to know what that looks like,
We do.
not just in our dating life, but Tasha always says, even in your personal life.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I think that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
I agree.
So I'm going to start out with why it matters, right? Why is healthy boundaries versus rules, or boundaries period versus rules, matter? The misuse of rules in the place of boundaries often creates resentment, especially in close relationships. You can't make someone love, respect, or understand you, but you can decide what you will allow and how you will respond.
Yes.
Boundaries create clarity and emotional safety. They're a form of self-love. I'm going to say that one more time. It is a form of self-love and accountability in healing work, especially with trauma survivors. Learning the difference is essential because many people have been conditioned to either over-control or completely lose themselves. Guilty, been there a time or two myself.
Yes.
So, Tasha, we're going to get right into it. Let's talk about boundaries versus rules. How very different is it? What do we need to know more about it? Hi, Facebook family, YouTube family.
Well, the difference between a boundary and a rule could be really subtle. So just, for tonight, we'll be talking about the importance in those differences, because
Right.
sometimes rules are mostly constructed to be restrictive and controlling. Because if I set a rule, I'm setting a rule on someone else.
Right.
When I set a boundary, I'm actually setting a boundary for myself. Boundaries help you to communicate and own your own needs and limits. And I think people get confused because a lot of people think when they set their boundaries, it's for other people. But we talk about this a lot up here on the S.I.T podcast, that we can't change or control other people. We can control ourselves.
Right.
That's
So when you
right.
set a boundary and you think of it from a way that I'm setting this boundary for myself and I'm not going to violate my own boundary, you are teaching people how to treat you.
That's right. That's
So
right.
for
Mm-hmm.
tonight, if we can just imagine boundaries are for us so we can stay in check, and we place rules on others for them to stay in check.
That's right.
And
Right.
That's right.
sometimes, what we shared last week is I would like people, I think I left people with this thought to think about rules that are not restrictive and controlling, but rules that can be negotiated and agreed upon.
That's
Yes.
right.
That's right.
That's
Because
right.
I gave the example of a roommate agreement. Like many people have their kids going off to college. There's a lot of trunk parties going on.
That's
The
right.
kids are
That's
going
right.
to settle in. A lot of freshman orientations. And when my kids went through college, I remember through the summer they were learning their roommate, and the major big piece was having that roommate
That's
That's a
agreement
good
in
point.
place.
that's
Yep. Yep.
excellent point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a good place to set rules, and you guys negotiated. And I have to say, both of my children went through college and had good experiences because they felt comfortable with those roommate agreements and setting those roommate
That's good.
agreements.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I
Eh,
think if we could think about rules in that way, and sometimes rules need to be restricted and controlling, but I do still think that there's room for negotiation. And during a lifetime of any relationship, those rules can be subtly changed
Yes.
if we
Yes.
explore why we
Yeah.
set them from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
you and you did and you and Terry talked about one last week, which I thought was really good. When Terry said that
Friend.
no, the one about your child coming in and cleaning, and if they can't cook
Yeah,
after
yeah,
11.
Clean the
Yeah,
kitchen,
with the
right?
yeah,
Yep,
kitchen
yep.
situation. Yeah. 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 No meals after 10.
And that was a good example of sometimes we can adjust the rules a little bit instead of saying,
Yeah, we can
you
be-
know,
we can be
no
flexible.
cooking after 10.
Yeah.
If you come in and cook, clean up,
You know.
and if you don't, then there's no cooking
Yeah,
after
that's a
10.
problem. But I just
Or you can
want-
move
yeah.
out and get your own place and
But
okay.
no, I'm talking. But what Natasha said was good. I just want to just throw this in here because I think that boundaries are really a form of self care.
Yeah.
It is.
I just want to get that out. That's all.
it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
protecting
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
It is protecting you. But Tasha,
Yeah.
Facebook friends, family, Facebook, YouTube, how we doing out there tonight? I just want to give you guys a shout out and say thank you for joining us. We cannot do this without you. Hey, Shelly, I miss you already. As you know, we had a big family reunion this weekend, and
Oh,
oh my
that's great.
God,
That's great.
and I tell you, I have so much love for my family. We had an
that's good.
amazing,
That's good.
amazing time. But
And
Tasha,
Sabrina, Darius on Facebook on YouTube, Michelle's cousin is saying hello.
hi,
And
hey,
he's that he's
May
there.
Hi, Sheila. Oh my God, my fam bam is
Yeah,
online. My
coming up.
friends are
Yeah,
online.
that's nice.
Everybody's
That's
online.
very nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. So Tasha,
Yes.
I got an email from Anonymous,
Oh, nice.
and they would like for us. Hey, Chris, happy birthday to you. Today's Chris's birthday.
Oh.
Journal girl.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, happy birthday, Chris.
And so she sent out her little emojis with them very cute Chris. So we had a question from Anonymous, and I thought it would be good for us to read it on air.
Okay.
Talk about it a little bit, because I promise you, if they have this question, somebody else most certainly has the same
No
question.
doubt about it.
So here it is. It says, since my mother passed away 5 years ago, my family has often turned to me for financial help. I felt responsible for stepping in, but it's starting to cause a strain in my marriage and hurt my own household.
Yes.
I want to apply healthy boundaries so that I can stop being the go-to person for money. And even if they still ask, I want to be able to say no without guilt. How can I do that? Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a
Oh,
very
that's
good
a
one.
big one.
That's,
That's
a
a good
big
one.
That's
one.
very.
Yeah. Well, we want to say hi to Michelle's mama too, because Michelle mama watching us, the Golden
Yes.
Link mama on
Oh,
YouTube,
that's
her
great.
family.
That's great.
That's my other mother.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Anonymous, for writing in with such a wonderful question. And I love the fact that you want to share this with us and share with our audience and help us have a good conversation around this. And I hope we can help you kind of think about this and sort through it, and being open about, having the self-reflectiveness
Yes.
on it, and really also being able to see that because there's some behavior you have that you are struggling with setting a boundary, it's impacting in other areas of your life. So lots of self-awareness, lots of insight into the situation. But as I talk about this with you guys, and hopefully our anonymous writer will get some good information and feedback. I will have her and all of you who may be in similar situations think about what happened, right?
Yeah.
Because the first thing I heard is her, our definitely our condolences for the loss of your mom, but this
Yeah,
ideal that you felt responsible, that
Mm.
is something to explore,
Key
because
word.
exploring that will help you
Wow.
be able to, when it's time to set the boundary, to be able to negotiate it, because that feeling responsible is coming from you. That's an
Yeah, it
I
is.
issue,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the possibility that you felt responsible. People start asking for
That's
you
right. That's
to,
right.
to fill in anyway. In this situation, is financial. But how about if you would have said no? They're gonna find another way to go find their money,
I'm sure. I'm
right?
sure they
Right.
will.
So as you feel
I'm sure
more
they will.
responsible and you keep saying yes, they're gonna keep coming back.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Enabling
the
them.
other piece, right? The other piece on the other side of it is you're already making an assumption that if you set a boundary, and God knows you definitely know your family better than I do,
Yeah,
but
yeah, right, right,
just
right.
something to think about. But you're making an assumption that if you say no, it's going to cause conflict.
Yeah.
Now, if that is true, then that's something else we need to be talking about.
That's
But
right.
what if it's not? What if you set the boundary and they actually respect it? What if you set a boundary and say, "Hey, since mommy's been gone, I know you guys have been coming to me, and now I see that this is messing with my budget, and
Yes.
I'm struggling in my household to take care of things I need.
Right.
I would like to be able to help you guys, but it would have to be in limits. Are y'all willing to share your financial needs with me, and to actually see if I can help you with that?
Right.
Because
Right.
the one thing, money is a tricky situation with family members and just in general.
Yeah, of course.
Because the issue could be if they're looking for you with money. One thing that I learned a long time ago, because I was in that position at one time, I learned people do what they want with their money and do what they need with yours.
That's funny.
I'm telling
That's
you,
true.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
no,
from the
no,
horse's
you're
mouth.
right,
So I
right.
had to tell the person who thought they could do what they want with my money,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I would love to help you. I would help you buy Pampers for the baby.
Whatever.
I would
Yeah.
help you pay buy clothes for the
Yep.
baby, maybe even put food on your table, but I'm not helping you pay your rent, because your rent is due every month.
That's right.
Right.
That's
If you
right.
can't
Yeah,
pay your rent without my money, we gotta have another conversation.
Right.
Right. Right.
And I'll even offer you to come and live with me,
Oh,
because maybe
whoa,
you
wait
can't
a
afford
minute.
your rent. So you
Right.
see with those boundaries.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Tasha, but I think too that, so what does it mean to people, and this is just a rhetorical question, what does it mean when you say no? What does that mean to you? Do you feel like you're abandoning them? Like,
That's
they
a good
really have to
question.
delve into why
Yeah.
does saying no bother them so much. And I think the other thing
Right.
is a lot of people, because of the way we've grown up, right, with parents saying, do as I say, not as I do, so they don't know how to
Right.
say it
That's right. Right.
where it's effective,
course,
right?
of
Where it's
course.
not
Right.
coming out nasty, and so how do you say it effectively so that you're not hurting the person's feeling,
Right.
right? That kind of like that passive aggressive. So it's like, I love you, but I really don't, I can't do it right now, so
Well,
trying to,
first of all, yeah. First of all, no is a complete sentence.
that's right, I
right.
say
We
it all the
Yeah,
time.
we tend to want to talk more. I think again that's another self-reflective place that Mr. Anonymous could look at, because if you can't say no without feeling guilty, then that's more your stuff,
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
your
right.
own individual stuff. Because no is a
Yes.
complete sentence. You don't have to say anything else. And if you want to wrap it up in the bow, because that's what I call it when I'm in my therapy
Yeah,
session.
yeah,
If you want to wrap a bow around it, you can. You can say, "Hey, I noticed you've been coming to me a lot. Right now, I don't have it, but I love to help you, because I may know that you're going through something, or I may know that this is necessary. But we got to have a conversation about this, because it's now starting to impact my finances." That's the beginning of the boundary conversation.
Yeah, yes,
And I
yes.
have to say that a lot of times when people don't want to accept your boundaries, that is okay. And they will villainize you probably for a little
Yes.
while.
Oh,
But
yeah,
if
be
you
a little
were good
salty.
in your intentions, yeah, but if you were good in your intentions and you do want to help people know that. Those same people will swing back around to you once they calm down
That's right.
and they know that you're going to be there to support them. And then you can have the other conversation around the boundaries as well. Like, when I speak with you, I'm coming from a loving place. You don't need to
I love you.
villainize me
Right.
to make yourself feel better.
Better. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just want to put out a concept. It's survivor's remorse. Where
Yes.
you and I find for myself when I started my climb in college and academia, people thought that I was doing Terry's doing really good, and I'm thinking that
Right.
I'm doing pretty good. But you can't come to me and expect me to take care of you. But then again, I'm thinking, well, maybe they don't have as good as I had,
Right.
and then I'm thinking that maybe something's wrong with me. But like you said, Natasha, you have to get out of that because again, everybody can take care of themselves in the way that they need to take care of themselves. So again, although you're doing well and that's good, but that's for you and yours, not for you and everybody else's.
You're right. And then that's why I asked the questions from the beginning. Where's level of responsibility come
Yes,
from?
yes,
It
yes,
may
yes.
be her taking over the role of her mother.
Could be,
And
yeah.
sometimes our parents, we love them, right? If everybody who's been watching the podcast know I don't have my parents. We love them. So I'm not even talking from a place of privilege where I still got my mom and daddy. But parents
Exactly.
can put burdens on
Of
you.
course.
Yeah.
I don't know with Anonymous, did her mom say, take care of your siblings for me?
Right.
We don't know
The
that.
whole conversation, right?
Exactly.
Where's the
So that's the
obligation
things that
coming
she would
from?
have to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing she would have to explore. I would suggest she explore that before she starts to set the boundary. Because again, the things with boundaries is once you can explore where your trouble is at, you will get the information. It'll come to you.
Oh,
And it'll come
yes.
to you
That's true.
the
That's very
way
true.
you need to come and get it.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Thank you, Natasha. That's
Ter-
very
so
good.
Terry,
Very good.
do you have? I already know the answer to this
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
How are you with putting up healthy boundaries?
Well, again, like Natasha said, I mean, especially in terms of the family, I'm the oldest. Okay? I have a brother and I have a sister. And again, because I was the firstborn, my brother's 6 years younger than I am, and my sister, she came along sometime later. So as the big brother, sometimes I feel responsible for them. Okay, I do, I really do. But I know that I have to set boundaries so I don't hurt myself. Because they say when you're in a situation you got to put on your gas mask first and then take
Right.
other people. But sometimes we get to the point where we feel some guilt, we feel some obligation to our siblings.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Yeah.
when you talk to them, you have to understand. Look, I want to help and I can help, but only to this extent. When you go over something beyond that, then we might have a problem. But again, you say that with love. It has to be said with love.
Now, does it matter who it is? Because, like, my little grandkids now, they just could just, hey, Latoya, they could just have my whole heart if they need
I
it.
know, but still.
My grandbaby, when they left early this morning, I think their flight was leaving at 7, so they probably left the house around 4:30. And my grandbaby now, she's probably a little shorter than me. Can you pick me up? Sure, Emma, don't leave me, Emma. And it's like, oh my God, what else do you want? You want a
It touched your heart.
bicycle?
No, it touched-
You
no.
want a car?
Yeah, right,
Like, what
right,
else
right,
you need
right.
from me? Yeah, so it's hard, when it comes to certain people. But yeah, so healthy boundaries is like a gate. You allow who you let come in
You have to.
and
You
what
have
goes
to.
out. Yeah, it's
have to.
really
Right.
important. I like it.
And I think, just to extend upon what Terry talked about, being the firstborn, I have that responsibility as well, right? And you do feel an obligation. And again, sometimes parents just say it to you directly or it's implied non-directly. But one of the things that you also have to learn is that as we grow into adults, you want to have adulty relationships with your siblings.
Yes.
And the way your mother see you and your siblings ain't the way y'all see each other. And
exactly.
I think when you don't have healthy boundaries with your siblings and ways as the oldest, you could be enabling them. So you really actually stopping them from being healthy adults. And I learned a lot of
That's
that
right, yeah,
between
yeah.
me and my sister. We have a wonderful relationship now, but we had a lot lot of rocky times
Oh,
because
okay.
there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of
Yeah.
misplaced responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I just let her go on and spread her wings, she was able to see, oh, I could do this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even like
Yeah.
when
yes,
I
yes.
call her up now, if something going on, because my oldest niece would call and tell me everything, she be like, I took care of it, sis.
It's, yeah,
And we
yeah,
now
yeah.
have adult conversations where I'm
Yeah.
actually giving her advice and we're talking and she's actually teaching me some things as well now. So
Yeah.
I just want people to think about that, especially with their siblings,
Yep.
that you don't ever want to be in a place that you're enabling them because y'all need each other. So
Exactly.
they need to be
Exactly.
able to stand as strong
Yes.
as you.
Yeah,
Exactly. Hey,
you're right.
Tasha, we have, hey, Latoya. Latoya said, I'm getting better with healthy boundaries, but
Oh, this is
overall,
good.
I totally suck. So we're not going to say that. You don't suck. Okay.
No,
We're
no.
working on it. Thank you. Great discussion. Um, but why is it, Latoya, and we'll get the answer. Why do you find it to be so difficult to set healthy boundaries? And we're going to give you some time to answer that while we move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Great
yeah.
conversation.
Beautiful conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, healthy boundaries are so important, y'all.
It is, and like
And
I
it-
said, yeah, because I mean, we got to take care of ourselves before we can take care of other people.
Right.
That's what I want to say. on
Right.
That one, yeah. Yes.
And the
even when you
research
think
shows
about
that it makes better relationships.
I was
It
getting ready to say,
does. Oh,
even when
yeah,
you
yeah.
think about a relationship, right? If you're in a relationship with a partner and the partner is constantly saying little microaggressions or being disrespectful and going, I'm just playing with you, or you can't
Yeah,
take
yeah,
a joke,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you let it go and let it go and let it go. You're just building disrespect.
You are.
You're allowing
Yeah.
them to disrespect you, and it's just going to continue. And that's with anybody that crosses your boundaries. People will test you,
Yes,
and
they
as
will.
long
They
as
will.
you
They will
let
test you.
them, they will continue on and continue on. So you have to be mindful. Healthy boundaries is again for you, for your health, for your well-being,
That's right.
not for the other person. And so sometimes we got to be a
Right.
little bit selfish with ourselves.
Well, if he's being selfish, I think again is self-management.
That's
to the
true.
point where you just can't let you. I mean, you see what happens if you don't have any boundaries, then you are the victim. That's why Tasha was saying that, her children going away to college, and you have a roommate. This person, I had a roommate when I was in college. I didn't know it was a white guy. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. So we worked it out. But I had to make him understand how I was feeling, and you got to be firm about it.
Yeah.
You can't be wishy-washy
Yep.
or like coming all bashful and shy. No, this is what works for me.
Yeah.
And this is what I expect. What do you expect from me? Because it goes two ways.
It does.
Okay, but it has to be firm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you might have to put it on the board.
Yeah. It's
You
so
know.
funny because I used to, my daughter, oh my God, my oldest daughter, she's very good with, I'm just going to say everything. But anyway, she used to always do like creatively.
Yeah.
I remember one time we got a desk and I went to sleep. I woke up. She had put the desk together, and I'm thinking, Jesus, who is
Yes,
this kid?
yes, yes.
But anyway, I used to lean on her, right, and unintentionally. But one day, I asked her to do something, and she said no. And Lord have mercy, I was like, I'm clutching
What's
my
going
pearls.
on?
Like
Yeah.
I started sweating.
Yeah, this
you know,
don't seem right.
beads. The sweat
Oh,
started
no.
coming down, and then the
What?
sky opened, and it was just thunder was coming out. It was just brutal. I was
Yeah,
devastated.
of course. Yeah.
But how did that teach me to be self-sufficient?
Yeah.
I started learning what I needed to learn. I started fixing what I needed to fix, and if I didn't, I call a handyman.
No,
but that's
of course.
yeah. But you know,
Yes.
so it enables
Yes.
the other person.
It does.
So
It
you
does.
you
Yeah.
have to say no, and sometimes it's not even, those saying, it hurts me more than it hurts you.
Yeah, I heard that before.
So sometimes you have to say no to help them too.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
that's what I talked about with the enabling. Shayna was enabling you.
Yes.
And then when they split up and said no,
was
and then
like-
you had to learn how to do things.
That's right.
But
I was
ultimately,
like,
I
wait a
love.
minute
Wait a
now.
minute. What's going on?
I can't even believe Shayna said no. She's so sweet. But look, ultimately, what Terry was talking about builds trust
Yes.
too.
It does. It does.
Because
Yeah.
when you begin to build trust in a relationship, that's what leads you to a better place in a relationship.
Yes.
Because now we know how to negotiate with each other.
Yep.
And I think that is really important. And I'm sure all our listeners are thinking about all the relationships that they're in, and people want these things. Now we're giving you the recipe on how to get them, right? You
Yes.
want trust, you want
Of
respect,
course,
you want to
yes,
feel
yes.
safe, you want to feel psychologically safe.
Right,
This
right.
is one of the ways that you can create that in all of your relationships
Right,
by
right.
That's a good point.
having
Excellent point.
boundaries for yourself. I love Terry's language. It's self-management. That's
Yes,
good
isn't that
language.
nice?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep. So
And
May
then you
May,
help other people. I was just going to say, you help people learn how to manage with you. So,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. So May May said there's a difference between helping and enabling.
Yeah, I like that. That's true.
Yes.
yes,
That's
there
true.
is.
Yes, there
There
is.
is.
That
But,
is.
and you gave a
Yes.
good example of that because Shayna was helping you without you even asking, but indirectly it enabled you. And then when you needed help, you went to ask. And when she said no, you was like, wow, obviously you learned that, hey, maybe I don't know how to do this,
Yeah,
but if
yeah,
she ain't
yeah.
going to do it, it's not her
It's
responsibility
not her
either. I have to do it.
responsibility. And
That's
and
true.
I
That's a
have,
good point.
yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
point. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
you know the
yeah.
other thing is
What's that?
you respect the person who stands up for themselves.
Oh, you do.
You
do.
respect them.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because they're showing you, I'm not taking your behavior. Not that mine was bad.
No,
I'm just
no,
saying
no.
in general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They gain a level of respect for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you put a burden on her that she really didn't want to carry.
Right.
And then really, and I give her an A for courage because it's kind of hard to stand up to your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've done so much for you, and sometimes
Yeah.
they remind you of that.
Right. Right.
I brought you into this world, and
I was
all
going to
this
say
other-
that. And the old school parents, my mother would have been like, you going to do what I said. Now, I mean, you'd be like, okay, I'll put it together. So, yeah, I love it. I love it. Yep. She taught me something, and
And it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's beautiful because I'm sure that strengthened your relationship as a mother and daughter.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because that's an enduring relationship. A mother and daughter, father and son.
Yep.
You know, you got. I mean, those for me personally, I think the testament of your success as a parent is that when your children as adults still come to see you and want to be around you
Oh,
when they don't
yeah.
have to be.
Yeah,
Because
we-
they don't have to be around you if they have like 30, 40, 50. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, if they want to be around you, it's their choice, you know?
My kids tease me all the time because every time we are around each other, I'll be like, we going to dress alike. They be like,
Wait a
oh,
minute,
Lord.
You go a little too far. You go
Oh,
too
yeah.
far.
If you look at pictures of us, we got on the same bathing
Oh,
suit.
wait
We got
a
on the same
minute.
pants. Listen, we had on camouflage pants this week. And
Whose
I was
idea
like,
was that?
hey, my daughter said, Ma, I can tell you getting old. We had on camouflage
boy,
pants.
oh, my
I was
goodness.
like, we should get some camouflage sneakers. She said, you acting very old right now. But we had a good time.
Of course.
We had a
of
good
course you
time.
do.
They know their mama loved them. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next section. This one is really good. Terry,
Yes,
we're gonna
yes,
talk
yes.
about we're gonna do some scenarios
Okay, all right.
on healthy boundaries and rules and the difference. So you're gonna go first.
Okay.
And this is a friendship one.
Okay. Keisha and Tasha are best friends.
Oh,
Keisha recently set a boundary to spend Sundays offline for self-care.
wow.
Tasha, you need to text me back on Sundays. You just can't disappear like that.
Okay, is that a healthy one or is that
Well, that's
that
red
doesn't
fl-
sound too healthy to me?
No, that's a red flag. As a matter of fact, that's what they call guilt tripping. Now, see, Tasha feels entitled to Keisha's time. Okay, and she shouldn't really think that because again, but then there is another part of that.
What's the healthy look like?
Okay, Keisha says, "I care about our friendship, but Sundays are my recharge day. I'll check in on you on Monday."
And that sounds very nice, right? It didn't sound
No, it
Bad.
sounds reasonable because I mean it's a lesson learned. A boundary creates space. A rule demands access.
Yes.
Okay, but that space, again, everybody has to have their own space. I think a lot of relationships are not successful because people understand that we don't have to be together all the time. We're together, but sometimes we need some space.
right.
Sometimes sometimes I need to take a walk by myself. I'll come back, but I need that
And it's
space.
important that you don't make it a rule, right? That
That's
you
right, right,
make it
right,
a
right.
boundary.
A boundary, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the biggest difference.
I agree. It's a boundary. It's not a rule. It's a boundary. And again,
Yeah.
for Keisha's her self care. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a relationship one,
Okay.
romantic relationship
Oh
one.
my goodness. Oh, it
Okay, so Jamal doesn't like when his partner Maya goes out with her friends late at night. So here's a rule.
is. Okay.
Jamal, you're not allowed. Oh, this is Jamal talking. You're not allowed to go out after 9 p.m. If you loved me, you'd stay home.
Ooh, guilt trip.
Oh wow.
That sounds like control. What you think, Tosh?
Yeah, that's a red flag. That's not even just control, but it's also gaslighting. That's the new term that young
Yes,
people
yes,
looking.
yes.
If you love me, you'll stay
Ooh.
home. So we call it
Manipulating.
guilt
Manipulating.
tripping,
Yep.
gaslighting. So he's throwing that in to control her movements.
Ooh, if you loved me, you'd stay home.
No, no. That's
Wow,
not good.
that's
Not good.
heavy.
Yeah, it's-
That is heavy. Okay, so now we're
And
gonna
nothing
do
about that statement is loving.
No,
Loving.
no.
Okay, so this is Jamal saying it in a healthy way.
Okay.
I feel anxious when I don't know your plans. I'd appreciate it if you keep me in the loop so I can feel secure. What do you think about that?
I think that's pretty decent for a man because men don't get that vulnerable, and that's probably what it is about, right? Because she's out late. If you know, men want to protect their women. So if you're out late with your friends, I need to protect you. I don't know
Right.
what you're doing. And 9 times out of 10, let's be real. If women get into something, what they gonna do? They're gonna call a man and say, "Can you
Anyway,
come
yes,
get me?"
yes,
But you
yes.
know
So
what
it's
I like
almost
about
like
that
when
too,
you have
Tosh?
that relationship.
You know what I like about that too? I felt like, which we don't do often enough, is he felt safe enough to show his vulnerability to her.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. As opposed of scapegoating it on, because another part of the rule could have been, I don't know what you're doing. You hanging out with your single friends. They could be trying to hook you up,
That's
and
right.
all
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
nonsense that go along with that. When
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bottom line, Sabrina, is you're right. There's probably some level of insecurity and anxiety because
Exactly.
he's worried about her being out in late at night in the street.
And it's
And again, every relationship you got to be able to discern this because you kind of know your partner.
Yeah.
So if they are coming from a real insecure place and it's about trust or they don't trust you, then you got, again, that's a whole nother conversation that can happen
Right.
as well.
That's true. That's
right.
true.
Sheila said, "If you love me, you'd let me go."
Whoa.
Oh, wait, Sheila, all right, Lord.
It's that L word again.
Okay, so this was a boundary invites understanding.
Yeah, yeah,
A rule enforces obedience. That's a good word.
Yes. Yeah.
All right,
All
Tasha,
right.
you up.
So I'm going to do a work/family scenario relationship. So setting the boundary. So Monica's sister constantly drops her kids off without asking first.
May you hear that? May don't bring them kids to my house.
Right,
No.
right.
I'm playing.
So
Yes,
what looks like a rule, which could be presented as a red flag, is you better stop showing up with your kids unannounced. Right. That's something that somebody could easily say and don't think they could think that's a boundary and don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yes,
But that's reactive. It does sound threatening, and there's no clear follow through
And it sounds
because
a
you're
little
not giving
aggressive, right?
your
It does, it
sister
does, yes.
another option because
Yeah.
you do want to take care of the kids.
Of
You
course,
just don't want her
of
to show up
course.
unannounced.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes,
So
yes.
what's a healthy way Monica could say that to
Her
her
sister.
sister? Hmm.
Yeah, see, I love helping when I can, but I need notice. If you stop by unannounced, I may not be available.
Yeah, that's good.
Which
That's,
is true because
reasonable.
that's a perspective of her time. And I'm sure this time she's probably have not been available and she took care of the kids or they got into a conflict. So I mean that boundary help everybody get what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And so rules rely on fear while boundary requires clarity and follow through. In this
Yeah,
scenario.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. A good conversation, right?
Yeah, it's excellent conversation. Yeah.
Do you feel, Tasha, that is gender based? Is it one or the other? Like, do women have more trouble setting boundaries over men, or doesn't really matter?
One of the things I've learned working with men, and Terry, you get to chime in on this because you're a man. I will not ever be an expert on men because I'm a woman
Yeah.
and I'm a girl's girl, but I am a therapist and I do work with a lot of men.
Of course.
Is that men do not have trouble setting boundaries. Men are very clear about what they want and what they need. I don't know if it's, and I'm using ego strength in a positive way,
Of
because
course.
that's a ego strength. Ego could be positive if you have good ego strength.
Yes,
Maybe
yes, yes.
because men are the protectors, maybe because they're taught differently in how to be in the world. I think the problem that a lot of men run into, what I hear in sessions, is that women don't listen. They hear what they want to hear. And a lot of times, if a man set a boundary, they will internalize it. And I think Terry brought up a good example that's kind of related to the time boundary that we were talking about, where he asked the young lady not to call him after 10, and she was testing him, right? So she heard what he
Of
said.
course. Yes,
She decided to
I
not
was
respect
clear.
the boundary, because she even told on herself and said, I'm
Right.
testing you.
I'm testing
So
you.
I think that's the trouble that men run in. In terms of women, I think women are taught and socialized to not disappoint, to be everything for everybody, especially with Black women. I remember growing up in this field, and there was so many stereotypes that I wanted to break, because, like you guys always learn, I'm a girl's girl, right? I love my husband and men, and I love my son, but I'm all for the sisters. I'm a quiet feminist, right? And I always wanted to break the stereotype of the angry Black woman, because I thought that kept women silent. It's like we can't express our needs, and every time we would express our needs, it because we were angry about something. How about, no, I just don't feel like that, or I just want to say something about this. I do have an opinion. So I always been working throughout my career and working with clients, like, do not take on that persona. I am not the angry Black woman. I'm very clear.
Right. Yeah.
I can get angry, and you don't want to see that side of me.
You don't
but
wanna
I'm very
see that.
They don't
clear.
wanna see
I
that.
have follow
They
through,
wanna
and
see
I
me
can be
angry.
direct. But angry is not that, because especially
Right.
for me, I don't even think my husband saw the worst part of my anger, and we've been together 33 years.
Look out.
So
Look
you
out.
do not want to see me angry. I'm burning down the whole country.
Oh, no.
The Chrysler
So
building.
that I'm far
Oh,
from
my
that, but I
goodness.
have boundaries, and I've been known in my family. Everyone knows Sabrina and I are cousins, but her mom and my grandma's sisters. So on my grandmother's side, I've actually been known in my family to be the villain, because
Oh,
I'm very
no.
direct. I'm always gonna say what I like and what I don't like, who I like and who I don't like. But I also have follow through. I give context, and my cousins, my first cousins, one in particular, he sometimes listen. He was the first one in the family to ever validate that, and a family meeting we had. He was like, you know what? I don't want to hear nothing none of y'all have to say about this, because Tasha was the only one from day one that said X, Y, and Z. So I built trust with my cousin and didn't even know that.
Right.
And I think in that moment, it taught the
good point.
family something as well, because they're looking at him because they were maybe people pleasing and enabling or holding back. But I was clear from day one. This is what I like, what I don't like. This is what I think you should do. Is on you, homeboy. And I thought that was really a turning point in our family, because I didn't mind being the villain. Terry.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to
I
do
know.
that.
I knew a long
Sometimes you
time
gotta do
ago.
that.
No was a complete sentence. But I do love really deeply, and I care for people deeply. So my no's come with love, or my
Wow.
dislikes come with love. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
Right.
So
right.
I think when you learn that you have a voice, and I was a different type of woman, I guess. I don't know. God put me here to do this work. But I do think women don't set boundaries because they're afraid to disappoint or hurt people's feelings. Or maybe they think their opinion don't matter. I there's a lot for women with that. But
Right.
I could tell you, men do it, and we just don't listen to them. So that's where the trouble starts.
It's a lot to unpack there.
It is.
And I guess, too, one of the biggest things is knowing how to put up a healthy boundary, right? Like that's how do I begin to put up a healthy boundary? What does that look like? What does that feel like? How do I get comfortable with it is what a lot of people want to know, too. How do I get comfortable with setting up a boundary?
Well, I think if you look at the consequences to yourself. Okay, if I tell my wife or my girlfriend or my spouse or whatever something that I think is going to help her, and she says, well, no, I don't think I want to do that, and you say, okay, look, just going out with the girls. Okay, I don't mind you going out with the girls, but I think at a certain time, I want you to check in with me. Just just so I know that you're okay. Okay, and really that's just as a man just really looking out for his wife because that's his responsibility.
Have you
'Cause if he
always?
yeah.
Have you always? Because you
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about it last week, and
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about. Have you always set up boundaries, healthy, or was there a pivotal moment in your life that changed you to start setting up healthy boundaries, or was that just who you are?
Well, again, like, and to get the real transparent and personal, I've been married twice. Okay, one marriage was 20 years, and the other marriage was 10 years, and within those 30
That's
years,
how old I am.
yeah, right. But in those years, there were times where I set what I thought was a boundary, and then that was crossed, and I was saying, like, wow, what should I do? And again, see, with men, the way we come out of a situation, we don't want to be overly aggressive, but sometimes you got to really put your foot down. And when that foot is put down, do you stick with that? Because we can't be wishy-washy. We can't go backwards and forth because if not, your wife especially, she's going to look at that as weakness. And men hate to be weak in a relationship. That is our worst nightmare. That my wife sees me as weak, and sometimes I got to be strong to the point where I may seem harsh, but I'm doing it because I really feel that I need to really have a hold on my family and my household. And a man who is about the marriage wants to be that man that everybody can go to. That's what men want. That makes them feel manly, and a man has to feel manly in his marriage. If not, the marriage will not last. Believe me, I know because I've been there.
Tasha, how do we set up boundaries without feeling guilty?
Well, I think the first thing to know is that when you are working with a boundary, it is probably coming from a place that you're uncomfortable. And I like that Terry talked about, and you talked about, let's do it comfortably. So,
Yes.
like we spoke with Anonymous earlier, I asked her a couple of questions based on what she wrote in about places where she may be feeling uncomfortable to explore that with yourself. Because you can't set a boundary if you don't know why you have to set a boundary and where it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you have that uncomfortable feeling, that's usually a signal that something is happening to you, around you, and about you
It's
that you
triggering
don't
something.
feel
It is.
comfortable with.
It's triggering
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
right. And so once you identify that, then you can start the process to develop it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you could practice with it. You could practice with the language. You don't have to just go out and be impulsive, because if these are relationships you care about, these are people who are going to be around you, you'll get a chance to say it to them.
Exactly,
Or you could just
exactly.
create the
Yeah,
dynamic where you could be like, hey, let's have a conversation.
So are you saying that I just can't go around and somebody asks me a question? Nope. Ask me.
No, you can't do that.
God, that's more. Yeah, okay.
No.
Gosh.
Not if you love
That's a
the
little
person
harsh.
and you want to be in
No.
relation with them.
Sabrina, no.
No, you
But
got to
but-
give some
but-
context.
But I like what Tasha said, because again, if you're in a relationship, especially if it's a marriage, you have more than one time to look at that particular situation. Okay,
Yeah.
don't think that if I don't get in there right now, I'll never be able to get in there again. Again, sometimes, like if I say, okay, my wife is going out with the girls, and I really want you to check in with me, to let me know that you're okay, and let me know when you're coming home, because I'm going to stay up. I'm gonna wait for you, and don't tell
Right.
me no.
Well, that's
don't
nice.
tell me to go. Don't tell me to go to bed, because I can't.
Right.
Right.
I can't sleep with knowing you're out there. I'm not saying you're doing anything, but as a man, I really, really believe that if you want to make a marriage successful, you have to really, I'm just speaking for men, we look at ourselves and we look at the role that we want to play. And most men want to be the head of their household, as it is, in the church, It's God, and then it's the man, and it's woman, then it's the children. And most men that I know, we follow that because, again, be real transparent, I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, so I didn't have a father in the house. So as I got into my fatherhood, I had to really be clear about what I was doing and be very intentional. And that was a lot of stress on me, but I sort of powered through it to the point where, okay, I don't want to be a dictator, but I want you to know this is the way I feel, and I explain to my wife and to my children as well. You know, everybody needs to know what I'm trying to do, and only they can tell me if I'm successful.
Yeah. And I think, too, this also ties into the communication, right? How we are speaking to the person. Because you gave some good examples, right? You got to be clear about the consequences. Because if I'm setting boundaries, but I'm letting you cross them, what's the purpose of setting up the boundaries?
Well,
You're not going to respect
it's
me, my
not
boundaries, right?
It's not a boundary, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And then it's so funny because what happens when you set these boundaries, I know one of my daughters, I'm sitting there in the living room watching TV, and she gets a call. Her girlfriends want to go out to the clubs. And she tells them in front of me, my father said that I can't go.
Good grief,
And
Charlie
I'm like,
Brown.
did you hate it? I didn't say that. She said, no, but I don't want to go. So I'm the villain,
So
right?
why do you feel like why do you feel like she couldn't just be honest and say she didn't want to go?
Well, because she has some insecurities now, and we talked about that. I said it's okay for you to say I don't want to go, but don't put it on me. I mean, like Natasha, I don't mind playing the villain. I mean, I could play the villain.
Right.
So if you want to put that on me, I have a problem with that. But again, like I said, in terms of your personal development, you need to learn how to say no.
Yes.
Okay, because you can't use me all the time and say my father said I can't do this.
Right.
You know, you don't want to do it, but there's a reason that you don't want to do it.
Yes.
And you need to look at yourself, because I mean, don't get into people pleasing. I mean, that's the road to disaster. You know, I mean,
that's the opposite side of boundaries, right? People pleasing generally have boundaries.
Excuse me, we're gonna have to set up some healthy boundaries. Terry, stop touching my arm, please.
But one of the things that I like that we're talking about that you highlighted, Sabrina, in terms of communication, and what Terry highlighted, I said about that this is not just a one-time conversation, you need to be open with the people you're in relationship with to have the conversation. Because even with the example, I was just kind of thinking when Terry gave the example about the friends, those are probably the hardest boundaries to set because, you know, just by definition of friends, you come together, you love, you're in a relationship together, and you cherish your friendships probably just as much as you cherish your relationship with your family members, your romantic partner. So I was wondering when Keisha said that to Tasha, what could Tasha's response be, right? So you got, as Keisha, you got to be open to have the conversation, because Tasha may have, if you want to create clarity, you have to be able to receive questions so that people can have the clarity.
That's right.
So when setting boundaries, like when Sabrina said, I can't just go around saying no, you got to give context and you got to be willing to communicate. And you got to remember to have conversations.
I'm patting her hand here. You know,
no, but
I'm
you're right.
commiserating here.
Right. And you know, I was joking, but you're right. You have to have context, right? Not just saying no just because you can say no. It really has to be something that is going to bring you peace. And again, like Tasha said, if the other person is not accepting of it, that's a them problem, not a you problem. I like that.
But we have to communicate.
Yeah.
We have to communicate, and we have to communicate clearly and consistently.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, especially with kids, it's a thing where you really have to stand on your principles, and then you got to coordinate with your spouse, because kids, they will play one against the other, and that's why you, husband and wife, have to really be clear about what the boundaries is and why those boundaries are put on the children. It's for a reason, and usually for their protection.
Right.
This is not whimsical, you know.
And if they cross your boundaries, know how to step back, because self-respect teaches others how to treat you. You said that earlier.
Yeah. Exactly.
Terry, I want to go into, we have a how do you respond when somebody pushes back?
Oh, yes,
He's fine. How do you respond when somebody pushes back? So somebody says, you're being selfish. You want to say, actually, setting boundaries is how I take care of myself so I can show up in a healthy way, in healthy ways for others too. So somebody might say you're being selfish, but you can respond very nicely. actually setting boundaries is how I take care of myself,
Yes,
so I
yes.
can show up in healthy ways for others too.
And then you want to go down here to, they say, you've changed.
Mm.
And then there's a response, I'm growing, and growth requires change,
Mm.
especially in how I protect my peace.
Facebook family,
Yes,
YouTube
yes,
family, you
yes,
quiet
yes.
out there. How do you feel about healthy boundaries versus rules? Is there anything you can tell us that would help us help the audience with some healthy boundaries?
Yes, healthy, yes.
Thank you for joining us. We're not done yet, but if you like what you're listening to, and we're going to bring more of it to you, I can't wait till we start talking about dating over your 50.
Oh, my God.
Not my category, but we are going to talk about it
Whoa,
because there's
that's-
levels to this.
Yeah.
Okay, there's levels to it. So if you like what you're listening to, please subscribe. And please pass it on. Share, submit, subscribe. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
We
you did.
want you to come back because we do have some more interesting topics we will be talking about in the up and coming weeks. And also, we are going to have our couples come back, y'all, for part 2. That first one was so amazing. We're going to bring them back for some more
Beautiful.
conversation.
That's nice. Yeah.
Terry and I will be on to talk about singlehood with the couples.
And yes, and for the people who may have not seen it, that show was aired on June 30th. So if you go back to BKS1 Radio and YouTube and search Sit Part June 30th, that's for the segment for Better or Worse with the couples.
Right. Click.
For our new listeners.
Right. Click, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
All right. Sheila said rules are meant to be broken. Boundaries are personal and inflexible.
Well, I would challenge Sheila a little bit because I don't think boundaries have to be inflexible
Right.
because they're just a statement. If people view them as inflexible, then there's no consensus around it.
Right.
So I don't think my boundaries are inflexible because I may have a boundary here for one person and then have a different boundary for another one. Boundaries are different in every relationship. And I just want you just to kind of explore what you may be thinking about that or give us some feedback on what you was thinking about that, Sheila. Because again, I will have a boundary with my husband. I may not have that same boundary with my children. I will have a boundary with my friend and not have that same boundary with my husband. So they are different in different relationships. So I just want to make sure we're giving out good information so that people know that it's, this is a world of growing in health and we all are growing every day.
That's right.
And I think as you get older, boundaries change as well.
Sheila
Because your
said
relationships
true.
change.
Sheila said true. You're right. Yep. So Latoya said boundaries protect your well-being without controlling others. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I
That's
like
good.
that a
That's really
lot.
nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means we're gonna give this student an A plus.
Yes.
Yes.
Lesson learned.
Okay, so
Right.
Terry said, so here's some more ways to respond. Terry said, they said you've changed. The response was, I'm growing, and growth often requires change, especially in how I protect my peace. So the next one, Terry, they say,
You're just going to walk away?
and the response,
If I feel unsafe or disrespected, yes. That's how I choose to handle it respectfully.
Tasha, we have some affirmations we want to give to the folks. We got some boundary affirmations.
Yes.
What are some of those things we say to ourselves?
Right, just to make sure you're staying on track with your own affirmations to be affirming because you got to prepare to be challenged. So I'm allowed to protect my peace without guilt. I'll say that again. I'm allowed to protect my peace without guilt.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Saying no to others is saying yes to myself.
Wait a minute, I got to drop the
like
bomb
that.
on that one.
You got a bomb to drop. Saying
What?
no to others is saying yes to myself.
Yes, 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 yes. I love
Boundaries
it.
are also a form of self love, not rejection. So if you could
I love
remember
that. I
that,
love that.
that may help to alleviate some of the guilt as you get better with this. But I promise you, as you start setting boundaries and you see how it improves your relationships, you won't have that much guilt much longer.
Yeah,
People are
that's
going to
true.
respect you. They
That's
are
right.
going to start to
Yes,
respect you because you're respecting yourself.
that's right.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Tasha, go into some of the boundary scripts. I know we're running out of time, but can you do
Oh,
some
okay.
boundary scripts?
Yes. Yep. So if someone calls you up and they need something for you, you can always say, "This isn't something I'm available for right now."
It's okay.
Or how can I help you? I can't do this right now, but do we got another time to talk about this and negotiate a better time for it that works well for both of us?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
need time to think about this before I say yes, right? You could take time out to think. You don't have to always instantly meet someone else instant gratification. You can take it could be delayed gratification.
And I think too
Uh,
for someone, and for someone who is really like having, and I'm not gonna say difficulties, is just not ready to give those
mhm.
the boundaries, right? Just breathe before you respond to whatever it
Yes,
is that they're
exactly.
asking for.
Yes, yes.
You don't have to give an answer right away that minute. Just take a breath, breathe in, and then you can start to think about some of these scripts we have here.
Right, that's right.
And then the other piece too is that in the age of technology, you know your people, right? So if someone's calling you and you know they're probably calling you to tell you to or ask you to do something you're not prepared to do, you don't have to answer the call.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And then you could get back to them later and say,
Right.
"Hey, I saw that you called. What's up?" You won't be surprised how many times I've done that, and not on purpose, because sometimes I'm just not available because of the
Right.
type of work I
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
But I
of
will
course.
call people back. They'll tell me, "Oh, I forgot why I called you."
Right.
Oh, nothing. I was just checking in, and I'm like, I know that's a bold-faced lie. You wanted something, but you
Right.
probably got your needs met someplace else because I wasn't
That's
available.
right.
So
So
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes for
sometimes,
people who are still struggling with it, take that would be taking time for yourself before you respond.
exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly,
Think
exactly.
about it.
Yes,
And
right.
even if it feels uncomfortable when you do, you gotta delve into what that feeling is and when it's where's it coming from.
That's right.
When you start to
Yeah.
attack that's inside of you, I promise you the boundaries start to get easier. Tasha, I see two more on the boundary scripts. Let's give them something
Yes,
else.
the next one, yeah, the next one is a good one. This doesn't work for me, but here's what I can do. Look how marvelous that is.
Yeah,
That
I like
is. That's a
that. I
nice
like that.
compromise.
Yes, yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. And then the last one is I'm no longer available for conversations that I feel disrespectful. So
Mm.
that's when you get the challenge and the people who going to double down on the challenge. So you can always have people who going to double down because they're just not emotionally mature or emotionally available to see it as a boundary. They may see it as a rejection or a rule or abandonment or neglect. People have their own issues that they're dealing with. So you got to be able to see that when you set your own boundaries and then set a firm boundary to probably like give time and space for the relationship.
Yes.
Right. So these tools are golden. If you're watching right now, write one of those affirmations that Tasha just talked about in the chat. Let's start normalizing boundaries. And even when we are off the phone, off the line, right? There's some tools.
That's right.
You can write some boundary affirmations and stick them on your computer, on your mirror, and call them boundary affirmations and boundary scripts so that when people do call you and you don't have the capacity because you just had a long day and you just don't feel like, write your little script for yourself that you can pull on or at when you need to. This will start to help you start normalizing boundaries.
Exactly.
How we
And
doing?
another suggestion, Sabrina, is if you do have a relationship with somebody you trust and love and they understand you a lot, you could practice with them.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's just being the first just to say it out loud. It's almost like you got to clear the cobwebs away
Yeah.
or clear the dust out your voice.
Yep.
You just got to say it one time and
That's right.
release that uncomfortability. And you've been like, oh, I could actually say this.
Yep.
Especially if you're in a relationship and that person receives it well and be like, good job. You need that encouragement and or validation to learn a new skill. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
That's right.
I got to practice on my granddaughter. Like, I'm going to have to write some grandbaby. Okay, never mind. Y'all
Yeah,
laughing.
yeah.
You know what? Just forget it.
Your grandbaby just
Whatever,
wants your
whatever it
time.
takes, you know. I know
My
she's.
baby.
I know she's sweet.
No, I have two of them. All three of them actually. My
Yeah.
oldest grandson just went away to college for
Oh,
4 years.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And my two granddaughters
that's-
are waiting the
You ain't got the
arrival
other baby
of the
coming along.
third one. My
that's
grandson is
epic.
coming. Yes.
Yes.
As my family expands, so does my heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's put it on a card.
Yes. Yes. Excellent.
Terry said this is a hallmark moment,
yeah,
huh?
it is. It is
It
a hallmark
is,
moment
I'm
right here.
telling you. Yes. Facebook family, YouTube family, you know we love you. We love this every week. We will be back
Yes,
next
yes,
week,
yes.
Monday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will bring you some more good gems,
Yes.
some more good. I can't wait to start talking about that dating over 50.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh, wow.
I haven't been on one in a while, but that's neither here nor there. And so if you like what you are listening to, please click subscribe and share. We love you. We can't wait until next week to do it again.
Yes.
And with that, Terry, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to say that setting boundaries is another form of self-care.
Tasha, you want to take it away?
Yes, I would love to give people additional tips just to put them all together in the package because we talked about them through this evening. You want to use I statements, be prepared to be challenged, but more importantly, like Terry said, be kind to yourself when you're doing it. And remember that boundaries is an ongoing process.
That's right.
It's about respecting your needs and communicating effectively.
And please give yourself grace when you don't do
Please,
it
please.
right. Please give yourself
Right.
grace. Good night, everybody. Until next week, we love you.
Love you.
All right, good night.
We've been strong for so long. Now it's time to rise. No more dimming our